Hello friends, so we're going to be talking about this shooting in Canada. I think you know that to which I'm referring. If I tasked you with writing the headline and I wanted you to get the number 33 in the narrative, the logical place to put it would be a time, because time has numbers in. But what time? Because it couldn't be 3:30, because of course people would be going home from school by that time. And it couldn't be 1:30, because obviously that's not 33, is it? But what if you made it 24-hour clock, and then it would be 13:30? Well, I never. Let's get into it. Hello legends, I hope this finds you absolutely phenomenal on this, another day in our paradise. And if you're not feeling it, what I always say, just hang in there, because we'll get you there. Don't you worry. There's too much distraction going on in this existence, and that's intentional. It's the psychopaths. They don't want you to have something called peace of mind, which in Eastern mysticism is referred to as nirvana. In contemporary culture, it's referred to as paradise. In scriptural terms, certainly the Bible, the New Testament, it's referred to as heaven. So if you're not feeling it today, don't worry. As we always say, you're a massive legend. Just keep going down the... Keep doing what you're doing, because you will get there. Anyway, in no particular order, friends, can I just say, if you could like and subscribe, check that you're liked and subscribed, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. We get so many people unsubscribed, and then they miss the channel for like 2 years, and then they say, oh, Chris, I thought you got taken off YouTube. Nope, still here. So let's just have a chat, right, about this stuff. And we're not red pillocks, folks, on this channel. We're not conspiracy mad or anything like that. But we do think, like a lot of people now, waking up to the fact there's some weird stuff going on in this existence. And everything seems to be quite dark, doesn't it, and evil. Drug statistics are up. We keep going to war, even though we know that just damages people, not just the people that get shot or bombed or have white phosphorus dropped on them, but the troops themselves. More of them come back and commit suicide than actually died in the conflict. And the weird thing is, the Hollywood never tells you that, do they? People are fatter than ever, more obese and unhappy with things like their diets. The Instagram culture just literally tells you everyone's desperately insecure. And you could be forgiven for thinking we're living in a satanic inversion, which is why when it comes to events like this, I find them quite interesting to look a bit closer than, say, the average person in the street. So in no particular order, this is what's been kicking off at Tumbler Ridge, the school over there in Canada. I'm fortunate to have travelled that part of the world, all Alberta and Calgary and Edmonton and the Rockies and Jasper and Banff. Backpacked through all of that. A wonderful part of the world, wonderful people. You can have a great party with Canadians. Yeah, sorry, we were talking about the school, weren't we? So, yeah, I'm going to try and keep this short because we can go on forever. But so this is Darian Quest, he's saying he's got to class at 13:30 local time. When an alarm went off in the hallways with instructions to close the doors for a lockdown. Now, that could ring true because the afternoon break is 1:30 till 1:40. So, you know, he left his other class early for some random reason, and he arrived at his next class as they're going for break. Doesn't quite make sense, does it? But it does fit. It does fit with the narrative of the 13:30. For people saying why is 13:30 relevant? Well, it's the 33, isn't it? It's what's been sort of more and more recognised as a kind of signature code on certain public events. Now, there's a lot of weird stuff here. That he says that the doors were closed for a while before he and his classmates realised there was something wrong. He says he was receiving photos on his phone from the scene. That doesn't sound like something you do when a transvestite or transgender, whatever they want to be called, is charging round with a hunting rifle. I'm just going to send a photo to my mate. He's probably in that classroom over there, sitting under a table, wondering what's going on. They got tables and barricaded the doors for over 2 hours until police arrived to escort them out of the school. It's always that thing, isn't it? That at these events, the police take 2 hours or more to actually go and do their job. Either they're absolute pansies, the chickens. Would you, if you knew that someone was in there taking out kids, and you're armed, would it take you 2 hours to go in that building? I'm not even speaking as a trained commando. Even if I'd only ever fired a cap gun, which I wouldn't have done if I was a police officer, you couldn't stop me getting in there fast enough. So always a bit bizarre, these incidents. In no particular order, I just pulled up a few things here. Look at this is one photo of the incident. You see everything's covered in snow. All the buildings are covered in snow. And then this is another photo that's being used in the media in conjunction with this one. So it is, you can see that it's the same time. There's no snow on the roofs of these buildings. But this one looks like they've just had a massive, excuse the terminology, but a massive dump. That's snowboarding. That's snow and skiing terminology, if you didn't know. Like I say, not trying to be silly, but... And then I did a search, right? I typed in Canada school. I suppose I could have typed that the other way. I would have got the same results. But look, considering this massive thing has kicked off, there's one photo of the students, just one. Look, nothing else. I don't know what this is reference to. I think this is something else. But look, nothing. There's no one there that got their phone out and went, oh, do you know what? I better take a photo of all this and I'll put it on my Facebook or I'll put it on my Instagram or you know, that's my kiddo. None of that. So I thought that was weird. And then when you look at this photo here, it's always a crap photo. Do you know what I'm saying? It's always a rubbish, you know, a photo taken out of shot. I know this is a frame taken from a bigger photo, but that, you know, that's just... That's. I don't think that's how it happens. If you've got a shooter in there and he's taking the kids out, and you're the police and you go in and get them out as quick as you possibly can. I know that possibly the gunman now has been taken out, but that's not the point. You don't know how many there are in there. You don't just let the kids walk out like, they're playing Starsky and Hutch or Cops and Robbers. I just thought that was a bit random. Moving on is our perpetrator here, Jesse. They're referring to him as a woman in a dress, but clearly it's a bloke. So I really think we need to start saying things how they are, folks. Otherwise, this is confusing for the children. This is a bloke. If he puts a dress on, guess what that makes him? Think that still makes him a bloke. Jesse Strang, it's weird that this name was, hidden from most of the media, but in the Times of India, they're all over it. There he is with clearly what looks like a hunting rifle. So not an automatic rifle. I'm saying that for a reason, as some of you might have already realised. So that will carry what? Probably 6 rounds in a little short magazine. Possibly 10 at most. Not an automatic weapon that carries 30 rounds or more. Also, along with killing 11 people, which included himself, 2 of which I believe were his parents, which is quite interesting. There's also 24 people injured. We'll come on and look at that. Let me just take my autofocus off, folks. Always forget this, don't I? There we go. I'm going to look much more handsome now because I'm in focus. Oh. Yeah. Now, look at this. Remember, there's no photos of the kids or anything like that in the media. But when you look at what was going on... I'll turn the music off. Look. Everyone's going mental. I don't know if you can see the car there. It's got... Yep, there we go. We got a 32, folks. We've got various theories about 32, haven't we? 33 signifying something, 32 signifying something else. But let's not go too... let's not put all our money on one square there. But it's like it's all kicking off. Look. Here's the when they get the member of the public to come and say, oh, well, this was bound to happen, and this guy was lonely, and he was da-da-da, and just totally spouting like the mainstream narrative that they always do. Yeah, my point was you would have just thought there'd be more photos, right? And this is the other thing. Why is it always that there was a certain event, wasn't there, in America? I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's that event that got quite a few people, well, I say quite a few people, it got Alex Jones in trouble, didn't it? He's never been the same since. It was also something covered a lot by that chap that got taken off YouTube, Richard. What was Richard's surname? Had an amazing channel. Absolutely, he was a brilliant investigative journalist. He was only doing it part time. In fact, hang on a sec. Is it? Dun, dun, dun. No. I thought it was on my Telegram, but Richard D. Hall. Sorry, Richard. Yeah, do you remember all these events? There's always suspiciously a second shooter, even at one of the events that we may or may not have mentioned, that the one was actually in the police car, arrested before they were told to turn him loose. The kids that were giving statements said that the person that came into their classroom pointing a pointy thing wasn't the person at that event that it was alleged to be. There's a couple, by the way, there's a couple of absolutely amazing documentaries made about that particular incident. Definitely worth a watch. All kind of taken down off certain platforms. But yeah, if you're on locals, my locals, I'll upload them over there. So if you're not on locals, folks, get on my locals platform. You'll see the address running along below, or just look in the description box. Locals is our freedom of speech platform. We can talk about anything we like over there. So yeah, so always this weird thing, isn't it, with the second shooter. What else was I picking up on? Oh, yeah, this is British Columbia's Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General, Nina Krieger.
This is a small, tight-knit community with a small RCMP.
I'm sorry, but I don't generally punch women, but when I hear a voice like that, it just triggers something inside me. Apologies, folks. I'm only human.
Detachment as well, who responded in 2 minutes, no doubt saving lives today. And just to again thank the responding officers for their courage, for their dedication, their professionalism.
Yeah. Let's not be punching people, folks. Apologies for that. It's letting off a bit of steam. But yeah, it's just interesting. Nina's one hell of a girl. Not only is she British Columbia's Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General, so quite a mover and shaker, certainly when it comes to events like this. But also, she was previously the Executive Director of the Vancouver Holocaust Education Centre. So, God, this girl does some good work, doesn't she? Moving on, no one ever sort of questions this in the media, and I always think professionals, especially like all you veterans out there, isn't the first thing you think of when you see these events, like how feasibly would, could these be conducted? So, for example, when we had that Paris thing, you remember that after the old Charlie Hebdo, well, it was the Charlie Hebdo incident, wasn't it? And we was led to believe that that Argentinian copper was shot at point blank range by an AK-47, which is a 7.26 round. So it's actually a 7.62 short. And we were shown footage of one of these, the bad guys, going up to this copper at point blank range and pulling the trigger. And my thought was just, you try telling that to anyone that's fired 7.62 or even 5.56 for that matter, that you can just shoot someone in the head and there's no spray, there's no mist, there's no, be careful what I say here, folks. Apologies is a bit of a sensitive nature, but the hole that it makes going in, that's not the size of the on the way out. Do you get what I'm saying? It's kind of, imagine hitting a watermelon with a baseball bat as hard as you can. Yeah, we're talking that kind of effect. So when you get one like this or that other one that people talk about, if you were to take out 10 people and injure another 25, that's 35 people. How many rounds would you have to fire to hit that many people? Bearing in mind, you're a kid you only got a hunting rifle that's got a magazine of 6 rounds. You got to take that off. You got to reload it. Some people might know a bit better here than me how many rounds you can load on a hunting rifle, but then also it's not fully automatic, so it's a so here's the thing. I'd say you'd have to fire hundreds to actually get 35 rounds to hit, especially as you're in a stress, you're panicking, people are running, they're not just going to sit still. I mean, some will be terrified. Then how are you going to carry all that ammunition? It can be quite a weight. And bearing in mind that you're trying to pull off this stunt and get in and out, you know. So yeah, I just thought that's something that always comes into my mind. Yep. The alert described a female in a dress with brown hair. So he did himself up nicely for this outing. And then you read all the comments on these things, and they're all kind of mainstream, aren't they? You know, Mama Bear there, like a lot of people don't see it any further than this, do they? Nutters with guns. Look, agree. Becoming dangerous now, yes. What's the answer to this danger that we all face from transvestites with guns? Okay, yeah, let's ban the guns. Does it not seem a bit like that? And there we go. Okay, folks, let me know. I'm going to keep this short today. I'm off to kickboxing. There'll be a lot of people in this city tonight as we speak, utterly terrified, knowing that when I go in, I cause carnage as I run away as fast as I can in the sparring session. No, I thought I'd just keep this short and see how we get on doing a short video. I'll leave you with a couple of things. On the right here, we have the sigil of Saturn, Saturn being Satan, Saturn being the god that the Sabbatean Frankists, what a lot of people would say is behind a lot of the stuff we talk about on this channel, the Sabbatean Frankists and their New World Order. Well, that's apparently the sigil of Saturn there. And the one on the left that's the coat of arms for Balmoral. I don't know if you call it a coat of arms, but it is kind of a coat of arms, hey? For Prince Charles's or King Charles's Balmoral. Do you notice any resemblance there? And if you didn't get that, have a look on top. See, they call this the orb in royal circles. Not that I really hang around much in royal circles, but I did once upon a time. You'll be fascinated to understand that, to learn that I once visited Buckingham Palace. Popped in there to see my mate Andy, deliver him some pizza and a couple of hot dogs. Whoa, what a night that was. Psych. No, when I was in the Cub Scouts, we went up to London for a trip, and don't ask me how, we were allowed to drive our coach into Buckingham Palace. You know, the gate where all the tourists usually stand by, they opened it up for us. In we went. We watched the changing of the guard. My God, we thought we were special. But, yeah, in royal circles, that up there, that's also the symbol of Saturn. Those people that know, oh my God. What's the name with the orange hair, the fashion designer, Vivienne Westwood? She was always big on this, wasn't she? We showed the newsreader the other night reading out the news, and she had the the symbol of Saturn around her neck. And one final thing I will leave you with. Oh yeah. You know, when this is Donald Trump's spiritual advisor to the White House. A great Jewish lass. Donald loves the Jewish people in his government, doesn't he? He seems to be more Jewish people in there than any others, which is interesting if you think about the sort of percentage representation in a country. But anyway, this is his spiritual advisor. And when I talk about spirituality, folks, I'm not meaning anything like this.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory.
I hear a fucking nutter.
Even dispatch from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here.
The bloke like wandering past reading his newspaper.
In the name of Jesus, from South America, they're coming here.
God, that has to be done in the name of Jesus, doesn't it? I think that would be like the last thing JC would have wanted, was people putting that stuff in his name. Let's have a look at the chat. I've just been reading the chat while you guys were watching that. Dun dun dun. There we go. Yes, when you see 33 in a story, it's a code, isn't it? No, obviously it's not always, but yes, I was doing the gematria on this one. BBBBB. The problem is I don't know what 38. What a reduction of 38 means in occult code, and if you know, put it in the chat. Yeah, Richard's just done some great videos. Oh, the stuff he did on Madeleine McCann was just next level. The stuff he did on Manchester, which is what he got him in trouble, it was just undeniable. He was playing video clips. He's saying, you see this video clip of the performer, what's her face, on stage singing this song, and they were showing it on the video screens in the foyer where the parents were going to be waiting to, pick up their Ariana, wasn't it? Parents going to be waiting to pick up their kids. He's saying, look, this song that she's singing is like 20 minutes after the alleged thing was supposed to have gone boom, boom, boom. Yes. If you're not aware, folks, they took Richard down. They took the BBC girl, what's her name? Mariana Spring went after him and doorstepped him one time in the office, in the shop where he worked. And now he's just had a massive court case on his hands, fighting for righteousness. And you know how that's going to end up in the British justice system. Yes, 33, there definitely is a big pyramid in Balmoral, because I saw a picture of it today. What's this? Oh, 11, of course. 11, is it the chaos number? I call it the pyramid number, or the builder's number, because the 1111's 121. Is it 121 times 121 is 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. But yes, maybe we're never going to know these things. Eminem. God, I loved Eminem back in the day. I actually had a picture of him on my wall. Not a poster, but, you know, photo. Yeah. Stan, what a track. He come out with his short crop blonde hair though, didn't he? In his MK Ultra phase. Dean's pointing out the bow in Balmoral. Bow immoral. When Andy goes there, they call it bow immoral, Dean. Yes, don't take this seriously, folks. I saw a lovely comment today. Somebody said, do you know what? For my 50th birthday, I'm coming off all social media. In fact, they actually said I'm coming off the internet. I don't know why that just sounded so great and beautiful and such a good thing. And that will now be, I think that'll sort of be an aspiration of mine. I've never been on internet for the friends thing. You know, the whole Facebook, you get your friends from school add you, and I'm just like, no disrespect, I don't really want to sort of like you were great in the past. You know, occasionally you hook up with someone that's like, wow, but it's I've never really understood that. I only really started it for my business when I started writing books. I thought, if I have a social network, I'll sell more books, and it's all really sad, really. If you want to get like loads of likes and followers and all that, you just got to put a load of shit. You get something that's really, you know, you put a picture of a zebra crossing, and then you just put the question: do you think it's okay that asylum seekers can run kids over at zebra crossings and get away with it? You're going to get a lot of reactions to a post. It's like, I was going to say baiting a bear, but it's not really. It's like baiting really gullible people that have been dumbed down so much. That's the kind of like world we all live in now. Crazy. There we go. Right. I thought, Mao, I thought you said landmines there. So where did you live? Yes. Data, that's made me chuckle. Data, thank you for being a channel member, you absolute legend. Right, folks, I'm going to get out. If you can like and subscribe. I rambled away a bit then. If you're new to the channel, I don't always ramble so much. I mean, probably a lot of people would argue that I do. Doesn't really matter though, does it? I think it's just good that we're having this conversation. If you can like and subscribe, and if you don't mind, I'll just give a shout out to my Everest Summit. Thank you everybody that has donated, you absolute legends. Special thank you again to Danny Baker, Andrew Jones, I McPherson, Alexandra Noon, who's a very big supporter of the channel, David Soden, James Lees, Matthew Rowland and Claire Mullins. You absolute stars. I'll be summiting Everest starting in a couple of months' time, folks, to shine a light for our suicidal veterans out there and to highlight the link between childhood trauma and the suicide that we're seeing. Someone messaged me today and they said, Chris, it's actually 5 veteran suicides a week in this country. I'm not saying that. It wouldn't surprise me. If you think about how many people drink themselves to death or die freezing on the streets or, you know, go to prison, and, you know, all the culmination is, I think a lot of veterans die young. Nearly me, wasn't it? You know, I nearly drugged myself to death, nearly drank myself to death, and nearly criminalised myself to death. Well, certainly working as a doorman for the Triads wasn't probably one of my smartest moves. But yeah, if you can help me, folks, share this message. That would be really kind. No one else is talking about this, are they? No one's going, hey, do you know what? Do you know PTSD in veterans? It's actually kind of related to childhood. Just as important as it may be to some combat experience that, incidentally, most veterans never have, because statistically, most military personnel don't see conflict. Or if they do, they don't see a shot fired in anger. This is a minority. Or they're like me. The guy behind me got shot 3 times on patrol. Literally did not faze me in any way, shape or form. I thought, well, this is my job, isn't it? I'm a Royal Marines commando. This is what I signed up for, and it really was that. I didn't really sort of sign up for people getting shot. I didn't even sign up to kill people. That would be psychotic, wouldn't it? That came later. That comes after the indoctrination of training, that you want to like prove yourself in that arena, which is just a whole bizarre thing again. But no, I joined up because I was living in a Renault 12. And I thought joining the military, especially the Royal Marines, would be a much better option. And I thought, this is going to shut up everyone that called me a failure, that failed me at school, that threw me out of the house twice by the time I was, 17. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit off track there. So, yeah, if you can spare us a £5, folks, there's a link below in the comments. Remember, you're supporting me, all the work I do on this channel. No one else is talking about this suicide thing. It's just, I'm perceptive. And I've got the education behind it because I did 5.5 years in university in the social sciences. So psychology, biology, sociology, youth work, and social work. So I kind of get like how it works, but it's probably why I'm talking about it and no one else is. So there we go. There's a link in the comments, or there's a link below. And as always, if you're a channel member, if you're a channel member on YouTube, or support me on Patreon, Locals, or buy me a coffee, massive thanks to you. Couldn't do this without you. I think that's it. Not going to go Locals tonight, friends, because I've got to get to kickboxing. So have a great rest of the evening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Much love. Ciao, ciao.
Morning, legends. I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma, and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life, go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know there is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. Can spare a £5? That's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.